they can hear us.
Called the organ recital. You know, when you talk about.
Do you think about getting another dog? Are you still dog sitting for some people?
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hi.
Hey, good afternoon. It is afternoon and it's not 12 o'clock. It is 1 o'clock. I don't know. Is it 2 o'clock? I don't know. It's something.
Thanks, Dave.
It's 2 o'clock. I don't know. Welcome to Who Knew, an exploration of the Jewish experience. Welcome to our friends online also. And if you want to just give them a quick hello, that would be lovely. And this is a program that started in September and will go through until May. And thanks to our Temple Sinai Board of Directors for supporting this program, we've been able to bring all kinds of different speakers with Rabbi Ben about topics in our community. And today we're especially lucky to have Sinai member Mary Federico Katz and Lynn Arnone.
And Kate's.
Okay, let me start again. Mary Federico Katz and Lynn Arnone and Rabbi Benjamin Zober. I got that one right. There you go. And these are two empowered women who are going to talk about how we empower other women here in Northern Nevada through their work with RISE and other organizations as well. And I don't want to give too much of their intros because I know that's part of the conversation, but I know Mary for quite a while from Temple Sinai Social Action. And so she's been actively involved in keeping women strong in Northern Nevada. So thank you. Just general format, there'll be a conversation with Rabbi Ben, afterwards Q&A, and then we've got some light refreshments in the lobby. So thanks for joining us today, and I will turn it over to Rabbi Ben.
All right. Thank you, Jill. Lynn, Mary, thank you both in advance for being part of this. I want to switch. I told you exactly how things were going to go, and then I'll switch things up because that's the way we do things. But I wanted to. As it is International Women's Day, I wanted to start with a quote related to that. The story of women's struggle for equality belongs to no single feminist, nor to any one organization, but to the collective efforts of all who care about human rights. That is from our sister Gloria Steinem. So I thought that struck me as a good intention to kind of frame our conversation today and get us started. With that buzzing in our minds, I will ask and say, welcome to Sinai. What is it that brought you here the first time?
My first time at Sinai was with my husband, Harvey. We moved here in 2012, November, and I don't know, maybe early 2013. We came here after leaving. We were in Marin County where the Reform synagogue had like 1,000 or 1,500 families. It was huge. And we came here and we got to know everybody really quickly. And so, yeah, that's how I learned about Sinai. Yeah.
I'm here for the first time.
Well, welcome.
Thanks to Mary,
Baruch haba.
who invited me to participate today. So this is my first time. Nice to meet everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
So but I understand that you're a member of First Congregational, our neighbors.
Yeah, we're a 6-minute drive from here. First Congregational Church off Sunnyside, and we moved here in 1998. And had been living overseas for 8 years. I grew up like Harvey, in New England, in Connecticut, where you can't spit and not hit a congregational church. I had been missing that. And so it's a small congregation, much, I guess, like here. It's nice. I know everybody. So, yes.
Yeah. So I wonder if you could give us a little background, a little bio, sort of bring us up to speed until the substance of the day. So
Yes. I
please.
grew up in a very devout Catholic family in Louisiana and Georgia. We moved to Georgia when I was in high school. My father was Mr. Knights of Columbus for the state of Georgia for many years. He was very active in all aspects of the Knights. And my mom was a dedicated, what do they call the women that are the wives? I can't remember the name, but anyway, she, the bingo games and all the fundraising and the Tootsie Roll sales for charity. And I kind of started questioning my upbringing, like when I went off to college. And I ended up graduating from the University of Georgia. Then I went up to DC and lived there for 5 years, worked for a big computer company. Then I went to Atlanta, worked for Coca-Cola. And then I found my way to Marin County, where I could run 6 miles at lunch and not sweat. I'm like, okay, I'm out of the South. So I met Harvey a year later, and that's when I started really questioning what I wanted from a faith perspective and a social and a whole connection to organized anything religion. So. Harvey and I did a lot of interfaith discussion groups in San Francisco, which were quite enlightening, talking about our commonalities and our uniqueness and our challenges, especially when you have kids. And through it all, we decided to raise the children Jewish. And so we had a great network of friends, a lot of interfaith families in that part, in the Bay Area. And so we raised our kids Jewish, and then when Harvey retired and the kids are off, we decided to retire here for Mount Rose, for skiing.
Of course. Yeah,
and the great
that's the
outdoors.
draw.
And so that's what got us here 13 years ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Or how are you, Lynn? Please.
So Connecticut, spent most of my time on the East Coast. And like I said, we had been overseas for 8 years. My husband's a scientist. In 98, he got a job at the Desert Research Institute, which he is still, he's emeritus now, but it's a freshly retired. And again, the First Congregational Church became our home. Our children, we have 3 children, and the youngest twins were 2. So they really grew up in that church. And I've always been very active in that church and in the activities we've done there. But in probably the last 10 years, as First Congregational became more involved with working with RISE, the Reno Initiative for Shelter and Equality. And then when they opened our place, it coincided, it was a little bit later, I retired and really started looking for things to get involved in. And my career before that had been with a school district and working specifically with Title I schools, underserved populations, and giving them access to all the different things we have available in the community. Kids who had never been to Tahoe, or for that matter, been outside their neighborhood. And you just see the need. And I found it very worthwhile working with RISE. Well, when we started, Ben Castro is somebody you probably know. Yeah. And I think that was the person that Mary and I both first hooked us in.
Yes.
All right, so you've brought it up. So please, I know that not everyone is familiar with all the organizations and the work they do. I wonder if you could tell us about RISE, tell us about what it is, how it works, all the good stuff.
I will start by saying I first learned about RISE through Laura Smith, very active woman here. She and her husband, Aaron Hill, they were doing Monday meals. This was back in, I have a timeline here so I won't get confused.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, can I back up for a second?
Absolutely.
I have to back up and tell you how I got involved with doing homeless.
Yeah, it's only during during the service we're not allowed to turn back in pages. Like if we go ahead, I
want to stick to my timeline. So when we moved here, I got very involved with the South Washoe Dems, which is an affiliate of the Washoe Dems. And back in, I'm not sure when it started, but in October of 2016, I started volunteering with the Sunday bag lunch program at Record Street. This is before the CARES campus was created for the homeless men and couples. And it was through the Reno Community Resource Center. So what we did is we'd make like 200 bag lunches, but it would be an assembly line where I would make 10 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and somebody else would make turkey sandwiches, and we would have sandwiches and fruit and a treat and maybe veggies. And the residents or the homeless folks, I don't know what kind of shelters. They had a little shelter there.
Yeah.
The VOA, Volunteers of America, ran something there. I don't know how many beds it had. And we would assembly line it. You know, they would get to choose what they wanted. So that was my introduction to working with homeless. I'd done other charity things before, but never that. So then kept doing that. Oh yeah, the woman who organized it. Does anybody know Cladney, the name Cladney here? So yeah. David Cladney's wife, Debbie Cladney, is the one who had organized us way back when. And so in 2018, I got another group of people that I got involved with. We live in Arrow Creek and we have a chef's club, and it's more of a social thing with happy hours once a month and food events and sometimes a cooking class. And one of the members told us about Eddie House, and we started doing projects with the Chef's Club to raise money for the Eddie House. And back then, or provide food too. Back then, Eddie House was Monday through Friday in a house, 10 to 5 p.m. On Fridays, we would make little bags of sandwiches and foods, snack food for the kids to have as they leave Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock. Yeah. So then Eddie House says we got to raise money for a 24/7 facility. So this group at Arrow Creek, we started doing all kinds of fundraising. We had a golf tournament, we had a rummage sale, we had 2 wine pairing dinners. So my friend, who was a member of the club at Arrow Creek, she arranged to have fine wines and good food, and we had baskets and raffles and all kinds of stuff. In the end, we made $145,000 for the Eddie House as it was trying to get their new facility going.
That's tremendous.
So that was really cool. So then COVID happens, and that's when I learned about Laura with the Monday meals, and we would drop. I think it was breakfast. She did breakfast, I think, on Tuesday mornings. I think because I remember dropping food items off in the evening. I think it was a Monday evening, and at that time is when I learned about Ben Castro through somebody from Washoe Dems who was doing a similar kind of food thing, and so I went to Debbie Cladney and I said, "Oh wait, I think about that time." I can't remember when the CARES campus came into this, but she stopped doing Record Street and we started making bag lunches for our place. And then I got South Washoe Dems to start making bag lunches for them also. And then the Chef's Club, we started making bag lunches, but we got to go in masked up with gloves on and serve our little lunches. And at one point, it was in, let me see. Anyway, at one point when they would let us cook, we would bring in meals once a month and they would be themed. Like the first one was at Christmas time and we made a whole turkey meal. And the first woman that came through the line cried. Like they hadn't had food like that forever because they get, you know, the little trays, like MREs you get. I mean, it's just really bad. So we kept doing themed meals. And then so we started in 2021. So it was before COVID kind of ended. And then in 23, so we continued doing the meals. And in March of 23 is when the RISE, Reno Initiative for Shelter and Equality, their compliance manager, Kim Barghouti, created this community engagement team. And that's where the First Congregational Church had 3 or 4 members. And then they invited me because I knew all these other people. And then in April 2023, I just have to tell you, 1 month later, RISE said we cannot, or Washoe County said we cannot bring food in unless it's being made in a commercial kitchen. So then we had to stop making food. So then from there, community engagement starts.
Right.
So there.
So the community engagement team has its roots in providing, the ladies, the guests at our place, which we should tell you about what our place is like. It's a campus that has a dormitory for single women. It has 3 family homes.
4, I think.
4 family homes with anywhere between 60 and 80 children at any given time. They have a senior home, the Joy Home they call, for senior members of the community, which is the fastest growing population among the homeless, houseless. Right. So they, and it opened in 2020 in Reno. And if you go online and look at their video, it's really quite unique in the country for a facility for women. They can have pets with them. In this case, they can have family, their family can stay together. And so they were getting shelter. They were getting 3 meals a day. And they, the idea behind the community engagement team, which was really the brainchild of this compliance officer, and she was doing it on her own time, Kim Barghouti, was to offer them just something more, and it was as much showing them that, we had activities as giving them an opportunity to meet members of the community, meet them on their own terms. We started by doing bingo every Saturday night, every first Saturday evening. And then on the 3rd Saturday, we do something else. We do crafts. We've had dance parties, karaoke nights. We've done game nights where we play board games. And it's very welcome. We offer snacks, which we pay for ourselves just because but it's a wonderful opportunity. They don't, they live in a dormitory. They don't have access they don't have any kind of community room. I know that's been discussed. I think that might be somewhere in the future at our place, but they don't really have a place to gather and just be. So this provided them an opportunity. But I really think it's more for the community members that get a chance to meet these individuals, which really you get to understand the circumstances that have meant that they are in this facility now. Yeah. I started in 2021. I started in 2021 because Ben came to our church, and he is the founder of RISE, and he came to our church and said, "We're looking for volunteers to come and serve meals. Just be an extra set of hands." They have staff there at every meal, and so I started going on every Tuesday in the fall of 21, which is when I retired, and it was wonderful because I could see people on a regular basis, and both the good news and the bad news were the same. Is that I got to know people because I was there regularly, but I got to know them because they were there for a long time. Mm-hmm. And then what grew out of that, I was one of the first people came to because I was there every week to start this community engagement team.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that the community engagement team organizes are children's birthday parties, the 2nd Saturday of the month. And it's very amazing because I think we said there's 4 family homes. Each home has 10 or 11 rooms that the family lives in. Then they share a common kitchen and living area kind of thing. So each family can cook for themselves, as opposed to the women in the dorm who have to go to the dining hall because they don't have access. They actually have each woman has a crate to put snacks in that they can come access during the day. But with the children, we've one of her church members who started the model for the birthday party, unfortunately just passed away, but I inherited it from her when she was unable to keep going. And that was pretty soon after we started, I think about 3 or 4 months. Anyway, we have a great time because we get little tiny cupcakes for everybody, all the kids. I mean, everybody's invited, but we know in advance how many children we have that have birthdays, how old they're going to be. And we get a big Mylar balloon for each birthday kid. We play games. And when Rabbi Myra comes, it is a hoot. She will lead a choo-choo train, trying to get everybody to get to know each other. Like, what's your name? Hoo-hoo, choo-choo. And then we did the birthday party in December, this past December, and she had Hanukkah games like, I'm sorry if I say it wrong, pin the main candle. Shamash on the menorah. And so you blindfold the children and you twirl them around and you try to get the shamash on. And so, and when we play bingo with her, she makes the women sing bingo and all kinds of stuff. And so it's really great. We can't wait for her to come home from Mexico and be a part of it again. But the kids love it. I mean, the families love it. We don't want to see them every month because we hope that they have moved on to housing women and the kids, and the families. But when we do see them repeated, we're happy to see them, and we have fun, and it feels good afterwards leaving.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So it seems fair to say that religion and religious spaces are well embedded in your stories. I think Lynn, as you were saying, that having Ben Castro bringing the cause into the church and saying we could use help. I don't think we had that sort of pitch here but thanks to the efforts from folks like you in the community, we've Eddie House and right. other Our Place and other have now become so kind of entwined in the from the Jewish tradition that we talk about this notion of tikkun olam, the literally repair of the world. What it's some people have sort of I think looked almost derisively on it, that it is because it is the entire identity for some people. They say this is how I exercise my Judaism, by making the world a better place, which I'm still not sure why that's a bad thing. And in fact, it's something that is really it's much older than even that idea. That when we look to the prophets, they saw the world as it was and said, this is not what we're supposed to be doing, and put themselves out there to say, do better, people, with mixed results, obviously. But later on, we then get this idea of tikkun olam, and it actually was the original idea of it is this very, it's this sort of this legalistic kind of piece, but it was at a time where the sense of theology and the way that religion worked was, if we don't do these things, the world will literally collapse. That if I'm not meeting my obligations, things will fall apart, and thus it is on us to repair the world. And I would hazard that generally we're not as apocalyptic, although our duties to caring for the world and making sure that we maintain both the physical world and the people in it does have some real gravity to it. But we get from there to the work we do, both the small things and the large, knowing that they're all part of that. And I wonder if you would both share a little bit if how your faith or lack of faith or journeys and those sorts of big ideas, those things, either inform or complement or are served by the work that you do.
Yeah.
I lied when I said, there are no tough questions. It's just a friendly conversation.
When you were speaking before, it reminded me of the, if if not me, who?
Mhm.
I think, you can't expect somebody else to step in. And, in our, the inviting the stranger in, feeding the hungry and housing the houseless. Yeah, of course I will venture to say I probably get more out of it than they do. I mean, the ladies are incredibly appreciative. But it's, and I think, there, but for the grace of God go I. It doesn't take very much in this world for somebody, they're so much of the population, their house is like, their lives are like a house of cards, and a slight wind, everything goes toppling down. And we had an individual who was part of our team, who had been a resident, had been a guest at our place. And it was wonderful to have her part of it, because oftentimes in these situations, we assume what they need and we anticipate, what's going to be welcome. And she had that perspective. It's like, well, actually, this is what, we don't have. It strangely enough, sorry to digress, but when I was helping out with lunches and people would say, well, what do you need? I said, condiments. They would get these ham and cheese sandwiches or these, any kind of sandwich, and there was no mustard. And so just things like that.
Yeah.
So you don't know what they need unless you ask the right person. And she had a wonderful perspective, but she's no longer part of the team because she's no longer able to participate for whatever reason. And it's, I don't know if I've answered your question.
Not only the answer it, but you quoted Hillel. Like Reverend Kate will be very excited at how well you answered that question. The thing that came to mind, and you're talking about kind of that thin line, that precariousness of ruin that when in the fall, once we've finished the high holidays, we go immediately into the holiday of Sukkot. And we build these temporary structures. We built these huts, these sukkot, and part of it is to subject ourselves to the elements. That a good rain or a strong wind could knock the whole thing over. And we have just come through this period of self-reflection and honest soul searching and pledging to do better, to be the people that we always aspire to be. And then we almost dare ourselves to kind of put it on the line and sit there, and it drives home in this incredibly real way what those big issues are, and that along with that, naturally, then we often think about the unhoused or the people who have housing insecurity, and go that, like, we're going to spend half an hour sitting out here eating dinner. But at the first sign of rain or wind, we're going to go inside. We're going to go to our nice warm houses. But we know that there are people in our community who don't have that luxury, and it hits different.
I wanted to talk in your question about how we got to where we are. I told you my dad did all this charitable work with the Knights of Columbus, but also, I have a brother 7 years younger, the youngest in our family, who has cerebral palsy. And my parents got involved in the March of Dimes. And I remember standing on street corners with a can collecting money for March of Dimes. And then that's why we moved to Georgia, because my brother was sent to the Warm Springs Foundation that Roosevelt founded for polio. And that is what got me going. And I remember in college being a big sister, big brothers, big sisters. But I never had any kind of homeless interaction experience. So I've just felt it's so easy. I mean, we don't have that hard of work to do. And when you see the variety of people that we are serving right now, some of the women, you can tell they have a job, but they don't have a place to live. Others have mental issues. Others, a lot of them are pushing walkers that can hardly walk. Like when they went to get the prizes last night, I brought the prizes to them because, you get such a variety of people, but everybody thanks us. And it is such a good, it's an easy 2 hours, and it's just great. Last night, Jane Grossman and I did the bingo, and I swear we laughed. It's a rewarding experience. So I just wanted to throw that in there. That the easy ways to help. And
one of the things that happens at these Saturday evening events too is the opportunity for them to collaborate on something when we've played games or done crafts, and then when bingo, the way they cheer each other on is it's very gratifying, and I don't know how many instances they have to do that, and that's been wonderful to be a part of.
Jane has added a new aspect to our programs. So she's a leadership trainer, facility person, and she led a couple of activities. One that was your superpowers, where she got everybody a frame with a mirror. I wasn't there. Not a mirror.
She had a picture in the frame of the person. And then they had to write on this wipeable, I guess it was like a dry erase board, what their superpower was. And I asked her last night, I'm like, what do you call that? Is it, growth? And she goes, self-esteem. Yeah.
And it was something really valuable to give these ladies. That's one example. She's done other programs. She did songs. I can't carry a tune, but she did she's just added a different perspective to our offerings. It's just great having her be a part of it. Yeah.
I've done more of the craft things because I think there's also something very therapeutic about making something with your hands, and they really enjoy it. A lot of them will say, my grandmother taught me how to do, I know how to use a sewing machine, or I used to do this, and being able to make something and take it home with them or take it back to the dorm with them it's been good.
Another one of our frequent volunteers, Neva, had an idea for decorating tote bags. So again, this is something useful. Like you go to conferences and events and you get all these bags, and she brought in stuff to just cover them up with. And then Rabbi Myra went and got like a bunch of plain ones so they could totally decorate them. They had a blast. It's an easy thing to do. And that was one of the activities. Neva and Julie Rosenberg, both of them know how to do friendship bracelets, that kind of weaving thing. And Rabbi Myra and I went over to Neva's home, and she taught us, but man, when I walked away, I'm like, I have no idea. So again, the ladies were helping each other, like, how to twist these things and turn them into bracelets. So again, it was just super fun. And if you ever think of anything you want to suggest, we're open.
Yeah.
So it's always fun.
Yeah, you certainly, as you've been listing the activities that go with it, it certainly seems like I don't want to say a lower bar, but I think a lot of people are reluctant to participate in these sorts of activities because they think, I don't have anything to offer. I don't know how to do anything. I don't know. But a lot of what you've described, and some of it certainly, there are different levels of skill or creativity that go into it, but none of these are beyond that of us mere mortals. And as you said, that it's possible that you get more out of it while doing something really good, just the same. So it seems that there's it feels like you're breaking down barriers and giving people even fewer excuses when it comes to getting involved.
Yeah.
We were trying to design it so that it could be something that anybody could step into.
Right.
And there's also there's a woman from our church who comes frequently, and and the only thing she will say that I don't want to be in charge of anything, and she just goes and she actually talks to the
Yeah.
individuals that are, because there'll be ladies that don't come to participate in bingo, they just want to be part of the activity
Right.
in their own way, and and I think that's because usually we're busy doing things and don't get a chance to have deep conversations.
Right.
But I think that's being treated like a human being,
Right.
a human
Mhm.
being that is, worth having a conversation
Mhm.
with,
Mhm.
is something that's not a given for these ladies.
Yeah. Going back to the community engagement team, when it was created, the idea was to have other organizations, the Seroptimists. There was a group, it was the Sparks one, I think.
Yeah.
They came a few times. Bob Colt, who's a member here, his partner, Sarah Warmbrodt, goes to First Methodist Church.
Huh.
She organizes the birthday parties along. I don't think they've done an evening thing, but anyway, she has a good team there. You were contacting lots of different, a soccer team, and you had a list of people, and we are still looking for other organizations because we don't want to do it every month, but it's great when you can get other groups. Like I've got South Washoe Dems doing it now, and
that came from Rise had a number of organizations who were stepping up to help, and then when we contacted them about doing the Saturday evening events, in one way, these organizations, a lot of them, they strive to do community service, but they usually want to have a whole lot of people do something once, and we need maybe 3, 4, 5 that will commit, and so that often has been a stumbling block. Oh, you don't need 30 of us? No,
Yeah.
you will outnumber the guests.
I guess it's a nice problem to have.
Yeah, it is. It
right.
is.
One of the groups that's helped is Keller Williams Real Estate, and they have started at the holidays, Christmas time, doing a huge effort now with a Santa Claus and gifts for everybody and treats for the people that have dogs, and every person gets something. They're a tough act to follow. We had the birthday party the week later, and some kids that wear Santa Claus. I'm like, oh, I said, I think he came last week. So, I mean, there are some very generous contributors to these organizations, which is always great. But they will do a birthday party every now and then too. So it's good. So if you do have any organizations that you know of that might want to help, we always welcome new folks.
Yeah.
So I want to, as the other part of our thing, I want to ask. I'm going to make an assumption, and I know what happens when you make an assumption, but that both of you grew up in the sort of the religious and spiritual spaces, did not have female clergy in the way that we are used to it now, but between Rabbi Myra and Reverend Lambertson, certainly, and if I can mention Rabbi Sarah,
Yes.
throw it in there. It looks and sounds and I would imagine and feels different, and I mean, I think along with that, you mentioned a number of women who have been involved in these various causes, and I wonder if you have some thoughts on female leadership, particularly in spiritual spaces, and how that has impacted, whether it is in terms of the work you do or the way that you feel a connection to the community.
I can go first.
Yeah.
So, as you know, we had the interfaith family, and in San Rafael, the Temple Road of Shalom is humongous.
Yeah.
And they had a junior rabbi, a trainee, I don't know what the
Assistant or associate, yeah.
assistant, and Stacy Friedman.
Mm-hmm.
I know Rabbi Sarah knows her. And I would listen to her give her sermon. I would feel so connected and inspired, and her wisdom and nurturing. I mean, it was like we never had priests that did that to me in the Catholic Church. I might have had a nun in Catholic school that I thought was wonderful, but that's when I realized I got to go where there's women ministers, priests, rabbis, whatever. I mean, I wasn't going to become an Episcopal, but that could have been an alternative for me. But I just think they've got a special, I don't know if it is the nurturing aspect or what, but I've just been so inspired. And now there's 2 rabbis that are women at Rodef, and and Toby Peckner is their music guy now. And I turn it on at 6 p.m. because it's not 7:30. So we can get a double dose on a Friday night now.
I love that you're shul hopping.
So
Yeah,
I'm
well,
inspired.
Growing up didn't have experience of, not in our church. We also went to an ecumenical camp and had experience with female religious leaders there. But I was on the search committee for Reverend Lambertson.
Oh.
So 10 years ago. So and I have to say, I was very excited to have the possibility of hiring a woman, and we were very lucky to get her. And it's the woman who we've mentioned a couple of times, Kim Barghouti. I really can't say enough about her. She was very instrumental, and came every single Saturday. I mean, we were not there every Saturday that there was an event, but Kim did it on her own time, and really made it happen. And she once, I remember one of the volunteers asked her at one point, how does somebody wind up here? How do the guests wind up here? And she said, unfortunately, a lot of these people are here because of a man. Either that somebody they didn't, because of a divorce or a death or an abuse situation or whatever. And it's just, and so I feel like it's impactful for them to be lifted up by women, and feel like they're safe.
Yeah. She was pretty amazing. Rise no longer operates our place. It's now operated by Volunteers of America, the same organization that runs the Care Campus.
Yeah.
So we have seen a transition of staff, and I have to tell you, you didn't know this, but the man who is now in charge of the dining hall, he has these signs up all over, affirmations, all colorful signs, and like when you first walk into the dining hall, you are beautiful. And it's very interesting. I mean, this guy, he's not a woman, but he's inspiring these women. I think it's very interesting. Wait till you go there and see.
Who is
Tristan?
Oh, is it Tristan?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of a born again Christian, and his calling he's now doing Bible studies with the ladies. I mean, it feels very different than it used to be, but anyway, you'll notice these affirmations all over the signs everywhere now, and good thoughts.
Yeah, it's good to be surrounded by positivity.
Yeah, it is very positive for them. I was very impressed. Should we say that Kim, who she was married to? Kim knew Rabbi Myra when we first started this, because her ex-husband was the imam. I don't know if he's still involved in the interfaith, but had been a long time ago. So she was happy to see Myra again.
Yeah.
We came. Yeah.
Well, but just before we turn it over to questions, if there's any other things you want to add, especially if there's people are interested in getting involved, if there's tell them how to do that, or if there's something coming up that they might be interested in a particular project or a need, we'd love to hear that.
I want to add something. Cookie Steinberg, who's in our congregation. She's an active volunteer with us, but she has a group called Wild Whimsical Women.
Oh, yes.
And I think I don't know if they're related. It's something to do with veterans, I think. They support veterans. They were doing lunches like my group was, but they now go to Costco and get like 10 pizzas cooked and bagged salads because it's a commercial kitchen. And they go once a month to feed the ladies. But I just want to recognize how many great people in Temple Sinai help us. Jeff is great with the birthday parties too. Tova, Amy, and of course, Myra and Jane and Neva and Julie. Julie, last month, our party was on Valentine's Day, and she went to Michael's and got all these crafts. So the kids were making little Valentines, and I can't remember who else. But anyway, it's been a really great experience interacting with everybody. And they get an email from me when we have stuff coming up. So on the 21st, we'll be probably doing the tote bag thing again, the Saturday evening thing.
Yeah. Nice.
So,
yeah.
I can't think of anything.
What I will say is I'm also involved in a group that's part of the librarians. I have some experience with library services in the school district, and when they put out any of their information, there's a ton of mutual aid groups, people that if you really just want to make a pot of soup, there are a number of different places. I think I forwarded that to you at one point. You can there's almost every day of the week there's a different group providing that kind of thing, because I know that sometimes people, that's their love language is cooking, and just handing out a bag lunch is so to do it for them.
Right. Jeff and Jane and Lynn and me, and I can't remember who else, we did a tour of the CARES campus. A man named Aaron Mullins is the county employee that we go through, and he's the one that interacts with VOA. And we went on a tour of the CARES campus, and it's very, very impressive. And he said, well, we're hoping you can do this here too. And we're like, I don't know, you got a lot more people. But they would love, they have a huge dining hall, like doing bingo. We could probably manage that, maybe if we had like 5 volunteers, but I'm not sure we're quite ready to expand there. But again, it would be a great offering, because one item, not another reason why I think why Rise started this was they wanted the ladies to have something to do on the Saturday night instead of hitting the streets or going out. So it's a really good idea. So there's 2 Saturday nights a month that we do take care of them. But
that's excellent. Well, thank you both for the work you do and for sitting down with us. I'm going to turn it over to Jill to see if we have any questions. I will remind everyone, if you have a question, please only speak when you have the microphone. Otherwise, the folks in internet land won't be able to hear you, unless I guess you're muttering under your breath about that crummy rabbi, in which case, please don't say it into the microphone.
Well, I want to thank you both for everything that you do. I volunteer with Mary's group and have really enjoyed all the activities that I've participated in. And I agree, the participants really get a lot out of us being there. Just the connection, for them to feel that someone cares about them, and that there is a light, because a lot of these women are feeling down, are very down on themselves, and need happiness in their lives. And I think when we come in, we bring happiness to them. The one question I had, because I never really found this out in doing volunteer there, is how do the residents or the women become part of this? Is it self-referral? Do they, they're down on their luck and need a place to live? Or is it through social services within Washoe County? How do the women find out about this?
Do you want to go ahead? I believe some percentage show up at the Welcome Center, which is probably where you signed in. Some are referred by social services. I don't know how many arrive by way of some other organization, whether or perhaps through the police. There's usually a waiting list.
Last night when Jane and I were leaving, or actually when we checked in, we found out that the woman who had been on our committee called and needed a bed. And we don't know what happened. And we were just talking earlier, we don't even know for sure how we can help her. We don't know what happened to her housing. She was going to come today, but then she called and said she can't make it. So something has happened. And right now I feel a little helpless because I'm not sure, can we bring her food? She needs a bottom, they're in bunk beds. She needs a bottom bunk because she's got a handicap. So yeah, she was going to check herself in. I know that. I don't know how she got there originally, but so.
Is there a connection with the hospital? Is there a connection with the hospital systems here? You know, if somebody is in the ED and doesn't have housing, you know, I'm a nurse, so I'm sort of looking out for, you know, how women get connected with this.
You know, those are great questions. And I think Ben covered it when we toured the campus. That was 5 years ago, so it might as well have been another lifetime. I
mean, usually, or often, hopefully, ideally, when there's in hospital settings, there's some either a social worker or someone who has knowledge and awareness of the various facilities within the community, and I would imagine that they are well aware of this, and that would be somewhere where they could either refer people or steer people to in that case. But I think it's some of it is just people being aware of the resources, because so many people, I think, unfortunately, if in some cases if it's dire enough that a person ends up in a hospital or in some sort of a formal institutional setting, whatever it is, as a result of what's going on, there sometimes are people there who can help them out, but there's so many people who don't have that, and they're sort of in between, and would not necessarily know that this is an option available to them.
I'd like to add, I printed off what their website says. So once they do get in, they get individualized case management, access to community programs, and tailored support. Our place addresses the unique challenges faced by residents of Washoe County. Every person who comes through our doors is met with care, respect, and a clear path toward stability. So once they get there, they get these services. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I understand, and the immediate need that is being met. Amy mentioned it. You just mentioned it in reading, the services that are available. Do you find that your involvement and your interaction with these women gives them encouragement that they can actually succeed in getting to the next step, maybe getting back to more of a normal life?
I almost think that what Jane was doing with this self-esteem and now the positivity things, the signs I see all over the dining hall, maybe I can't say that what we do with them, it's just fun. And when you do see them helping each other with the projects or they get excited, sometimes we have to quiet them down when they're a big group at table and they've got like three bingo cards, each of them, and they're making too much excitement. And we have to say, shh, you can't hear the numbers being called. So one of us will stay in the back and repeat the number, but they get excited. So I think we bring joy. I don't know what happens afterwards.
Yeah, they do get a lot of services provided to them, but I think sometimes, they're hopefully meeting them on some level. Obviously, we are in a different situation, but we're human beings and we're meeting you in this. So we don't want anything from you. We want to provide this, and hopefully we're going to have fun. You're going to have fun. And that's what it is. But because I do think, on some level, a lot of the people they interact with on the campus are people where they're trying to meet some milestones, can be something as basic as getting an ID, signing up for disability, all those hoops that you have to jump through. I don't know. I often have the experience when I'm doing something that is onerous, and you have to deal with red tape or something. And I think, I'm having issues with this. What are these people who are with so many, much fewer resources available to them? So I don't know what we bring, but joy.
Yeah, their website does say that the staff provides guidance on accessing healthcare, behavioral health support, employment and education resources, and programs designed to promote self-sufficiency, personal safety, and empowerment. So we hope that they are getting all of that, because that's what their website says they do.
So there's in Judaism, we don't do charity. The charity is something oftentimes it's a thing driven by pity. I feel bad for this person, therefore I'm doing. And the way that we view it is that we talk about tzedakah, and the idea of tzedakah comes from tzedek, which means righteousness or justice, and that our acts of tzedakah are acts of goodness. Or of justice, that exactly as you were saying, helping people with paperwork and those sorts of things, which seem very boring, are essential to being able to survive or thrive or manage things, and that all of those sorts of things, along with just lifting up the dignity of a person and smiling with them and making them feel good, are all what makes that notion of tzedakah, and so to me that's something that and having that kind of a thought, rather than just like oh those people, I will help them out, I think makes a real difference, both in terms of what you are willing to put in and what it means for you, but most importantly for what they are taking from it, because there's more than just helping them. That they get someone who is there doing it because it is part of this big idea of justice and righteousness. Tova, please.
So, as a volunteer, I think you both mentioned a couple different times variations of the sentence, "I get so much out of it," or "I might get more out of these events than they do," and that really resonated with me. I think there's so much bad news today, and so much that seems so overwhelming, that in the face of helplessness, people organizing projects like this where I can come in, help out, have some nachas, and contribute to my community, but not in a way that also contributes to my sense of doom and helplessness in the world. So I appreciate the opportunities that you provide. I feel like that's my survival technique these days, is just to get really, really local, really micro about dealing it. But you did mention, especially when you mentioned the South Washoe Dems, I am curious if there are some of those bigger systemic problems that are on your radar, and what is going on for tackling those, that if you're involved in that space. You might, I don't mean to put you on the spot for that, but.
We had been doing projects like collecting money for RTC bus tickets, and that's kind of nobody's doing that anymore. And again, I'm the one getting them to do our place. We do KTMB, just like Jeff organizes us for a park around the corner here. We do that on Wedge Parkway by her house. So we do that 3 times a year. So that's more for the earth. It's amazing. You think Wedge Parkway, there's no dirt here, but there is. I mean, we actually collect a lot. So, I mean, right now we're concentrating more on the the coming up elections, and we're dealing with that. But we have had, like when Jane did her sustainability talk here with Brian
Belford, yeah.
Beaufort, we've done things like that. So, but we're not doing as much community outreach as I would like to do. So, by the way, tonight, I have to tell you, can I put this in? Washa Dems is having their fundraiser, and Senator Mark Kelly is the guest speaker tonight.
Anyone, is there anything online, Michael? Okay.
All right.
Can I just add something?
Please.
You mentioned dignity just a minute ago, and I think that is a challenge to treat these people with dignity and with grace, and and again, not make the assumption that we know what they need, and it's a challenge.
Yeah.
I think one of the very interesting things Ben mentioned when we first started doing it is what our place provided to a lot of these ladies was that sense of community. And it's what sometimes when you see houseless encampments, there's a sense of community there, people helping each other. And when people graduate into housing, sometimes that's the piece that's missing and that they feel that people struggle with. And so they strive to get people connected with groups like a religious organization providing transportation, so people have groups that are going to support them once they move on to the next step, and they don't have that community at our place anymore. And that was something that was a completely since reading things about the houseless population, that it's a known issue when people find housing but they're isolated, and it just occurred to me that that's the community part of it, that hopefully, when we talk about this is a church I attend, and Mary can talk about what group she's with, and they can hopefully spark something like, oh, that's a group that I might find a home with.
Yeah. When you were talking earlier about the women from your church that will go talk to the women, there's times where I don't know what to say, because I don't know what kind of, some of them, I just don't know their experience or whatever. They might ask me a question, or they might start telling me about something in their life, and sometimes I don't know if I have the ability. And if it's just like, oh, I went to the store the other day and, oh my gosh, I can't believe it, blah, 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 or whatever, I could shake my head and agree. But I find that challenging for me when I talk to some folks. Like there was one woman who had 2 bingo cards in front of her. And I went over to say, do you need some help? And she goes, no, I'm fine. And she just sat there and just looked at the cards and didn't do anything. So I knew, back off, don't, she's fine. So I mean, I feel like sometimes I should take a class on how to interact. It's all kinds.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I think generally, as said, that recognizing that the humanity in everyone, that we're all B'Tselem Elohim, we're all in God's image, and that we all share that little bit of humanity, whatever it is, whatever challenges we face or whatever situation we're in. And that I think if we are honest and open with that, I think more times than not, we will find a way to connect with one another and help benefit each other's lives. So, all right.
I just want to say if there's anybody who might be listening, who might be on the fence about whether or not to participate in this, I think you should just do it first and then think about it later. That's my advice for most things. But especially if anybody had only if you've never been to the Our Place campus, I know it's been around for years now. But there was a time that a bunch of us were involved in like the warming tent before Our Place existed. And this is a world away from that. This is something that is very approachable, very safe, very clean. And it just does not require the fortitude and courage that some of the previous volunteer opportunities did. And so if there's a hesitation from anybody on that, I would just say, like, you have no idea how beautiful this campus is, and it's really worth the trip.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other, and nothing online, Michael, right? Okay, good. We started out saying this conversation was about empowering women, but the more I've listened, it's like it's empowering anybody. And whether you're the recipient or you're the person giving it, everybody gets empowered in some way. And that's what makes it so important. So thank you for kind of clicking my perspective differently than it was an hour ago.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. And Rabbi Ben, thank you for all of your insight, connecting it to our celebrations and our life and our ethos as Jews, because especially what you said about tzedakah. So thank you. Yeah.
I got to add one more thing.
Sure.
So since you said men can get empowered too, we did a game night with Harvey and me and Neva and Jut. And we had a blast. It was all of her games that she had collected. And then we went out for dinner. So we had a date night too.
There you
with
go.
the four of us.
It was a
quite fun.
win-win. There you go.
So come on, guys. You can help too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I'm just curious, and then we'll step in for refreshments, about how many people are residing right now, children, adults, or what does that look like?
Isn't it like 120 beds for the women?
In the
Or
dorms.
160?
Yeah, I think it's somewhere around 400 altogether.
Altogether?
Yeah. With
The-
the
Okay.
senior home, the
I-
family homes, and I think there's 120 beds. Now, in the colder months, they put cots in the hallways, and
Okay.
it's,
I think they can house 38 families. Does that sound right?
yeah, it does.
Something like that. And then they have an assortment of kids. So
All age ranges too.
Yeah.
yeah, we do the
Okay.
birthdays up to age 18.
Okay.
Of course, the teens come with the phone in their face and they just kind of hang around, but they want the cupcake or whatever. But yeah, we get all kinds.
We call that a win.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's if you get them to show up,
Yeah.
you've done your job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At one point, we were trying to get a tutoring program off the
Oh,
ground
right.
for all the kids. There were just too many logistical hurdles because a lot of the kids, they try to keep them at their home schools, even though
Where they were.
yeah, it's where they were beforehand. So they're all at different schools, and then a lot of them, because hopefully their parents are working, they're going to an after school program. They're not coming back to Our Place. So but that's something that would be very welcome. We thought about trying to do it at the Boys and Girls Club, but it still might happen.
Well, thank you both so much for taking your Sunday to give us this information. And thanks to our Sinai volunteers who have been so active. That's just something that's been for a long time, and it's just great that we continue to do it. That empowers all of us. And Rabbi Ben, thank you for your
Thank you, Jill.
insights. On April 12th, we're going to continue talking about caring for our community, and that will be about how to feed our community. And we're going to have the Director of Communications and Marketing from the Northern Nevada Food Bank, Jocelyn Lantrip. She'll be with us on April 12th, just as we've concluded Passover. So we're also going to be doing a food drive, and people are encouraged to bring non-perishable food items. And our very last session in May will be Rabbi interviewing Rabbi. And Rabbi Ben will be our subject, being interviewed in a conversation by Rabbi Seufer. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so rabbi on rabbi,
Yeah.
or we need some kind of catchy phrase for that. And that'll be in May, but our next one is April 12th. So join us for some refreshments now. And thanks so much for Michael Gordon. Thank you for welcoming in anyone who's not in the building. So appreciate it. Okay, thanks so much
right,
and have a
thank
great
you.
afternoon.
Thank you.